Taco truck? There's a taco? There's a taco truck! Welcome to another Army Showcase. I've got with me today Scott. He's one of our first patrons, one of our first supporters on this channel, but also he has some beautiful armies, and he came all the way down to the studio today to show them off and also play some games with us.
Absolutely, I'm excited to. The two armies that I brought for our visit today, I've got an Ork that has a lot of custom pieces here with pieces from Death Corps of Krieg, fantasy bits, converted and looted Space Marine parts, a little bit of 3D print on the taco truck there.
Taco truck? There's a taco? There's a taco truck! He's literally handing out tacos and it's full of...
Yep, so we got all sorts of pieces in here to try and mix and match and make it look unique. If it's all looted anyway, none of it should be uniform. I don't feel any two pieces should look the same. That said, I want there to be similarities so no one's super confused if I'm playing them on the table. So if you look at both of these, they have a very similar profile so that my opponent can go, oh, I see that. Those are both shock jump dragstas.
But they both look unique.
Yes.
You have not let any of the kits stay as the kits, it looks like. You've made them unique. Let's talk about some of these. Okay,
yes.
so roughly around 6,000 points of orcs.
Give or take here today.
A lot. There's like hundreds of minis here. Always the eye is drawn to something big like this.
Yes.
It's beautiful. Can we talk about this for a second?
Absolutely.
So this is a blimp.
Yes.
What do you run it as?
I run it as the custom stompa. And the reason being is because it can have a belly gun, the lift-a-drop-a here, which is currently hauling a rhino off the ground.
It's literally hauling a rhino.
I've also got Badruck piloting it. He's
Have you seen those helicopters that cut trees along
yes,
lines?
That's so.
The big giant saw blade that's underneath them?
That would be perfect for this, right? So if I want to try instead run the melee option, we could do something along those lines.
What is this made out of?
So,
is this two stompas put together?
Yes, two stompas mashed together around actually a plunger.
This is a plunger?
It's a plunger, and the actual plunger head is inside.
So if we were to break this open, we'd see the plunger.
You'd see a plunger in there. Loaded with spray insulation or spray foam to make sure it stayed solid.
So you just used it as support. That's amazing. I love it.
So
I love it. That's so great.
I'm like, if I'm orky kit bashing anyway, I might as well start using household items. So yeah, it's got a battle wagon underneath for the main portion of the gondola.
I was wondering that. So that's a battle wagon.
There's a battle wagon here, and then there's a truck back bed. So if you look at, like, this is one of the standard truck beds. You can see here's where that fits in. These are the arms from a Morkanaut to be the eyes of Gork, which is like a zapping laser that attack that it has. And then the Daka Gatler on the side there, the Def Cannon off of the front, belly gun, Scorcha.
Is that a part from a knight?
It sure is.
So there's like 7 kits in here? How many kits did you have to destroy?
So fortunately, only 3. Because of the fact that I do so much conversion, I often rip parts off of one thing and then throw it to another. So the 3 that I had to sacrifice entirely that wasn't me digging in my giant bits bin was Stompa, Battle Wagon. Those are the only parts I actually sacrificed. I have some converted trucks. I actually should have brought them with me, but I didn't have them today. And that's where I stole this back part here. I have some converted Morkanauts, which is where I stole the arm from. And then I guess technically the Rhino, but I got that inherited secondhand from just somebody who went, hey, can you put that on there? And then it'll look like our armies are battling. And I went, if you're fine with it. So Peter Scott painted that up and did a beautiful job of it. And went, hey, do you want to throw that on there? Because he's got a Salamander's army. And I went, absolutely I do. Make it look like it's being lifted and dropped.
This is like $1,000 of miniatures right here.
Plus like about $18 of plunger. So
that's amazing.
Probably too much of my list will be invested in this, and if it goes down turn 1.
So cool.
Yeah, I went, you know what, if I'm gonna come and have the chance to show off my army to the world, I went, why not bring the blimp? Why not have fun with it? I
gotta say, one thing I'm noticing from what you're saying and what you're seeing is a real intentionality in your conversions. Not only does it look amazing, but you've really been intentional to try to make it seem, A, that people can understand what they're doing, like what they're facing, but B, that there's an excuse for all this stuff in here. Like you were talking about, like, all right, so it has stompy feet, so let's put some bombs on here to have an excuse why it has stompy feet.
Exactly.
I really appreciate that. That's a converter that's not just a converter, that's a converter that's a gamer.
Now, before we dive into these awesome conversions, I need a snack. And today I'll be enjoying some tasty blueberry cereal. I don't get to enjoy most cereal due to dietary restrictions, but Magic Spoon makes cereal that is gluten-free. Magic Spoon is this video's sponsor, and it's the help of our sponsors that we can continue to bring you fun, entertaining content. Is it a little weird to talk about cereal on a channel about miniature wargaming? Sure, but my tummy is a little weird, so I am gonna do it anyway. Because Magic Spoon cereal is gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free, it is great fuel for the sensitive tummies of the forces of chaos. More protein, less sugar, great flavors. My favorite flavor is fruity, but maple waffle is a close second. Click the link below to get some Magic Spoon cereal today. You can build your very own variety box and use our code PLAYMAGIC for $5 off. You can choose from the best-selling cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, cookies and cream, and maple waffle flavors, plus other awesome flavors, including honey nut, blueberry muffin, birthday cake, and cinnamon roll. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Click the link below and use the code PLAYMAGIC for $5 off, or to go to magicspoon.com/playmagic to save $5 on your order today. Now back to Nick and Scott with some epic conversions.
For my Kroot conversions here, I wanted them all in poses where they look like they're jumping or leaping because they have the fly characteristic, right? So I'm like, even though they're on the ground, I want them to be almost all up in the air or looking like they could be leaping from thing to thing. So when my opponent goes, oh, that can fly, I'm like, yeah, well, they're jumping, right? Is how I tried to talk about it. The other thing I try to do as often as I can is keep profiles similar, because I love to take my armies to tournaments, because that's one of the places I get to have fun and show them off. I don't want my opponents to ever think I'm modeling for advantage.
Yeah, so basically making a miniature smaller or bigger so they can hide behind terrain better,
exactly,
or get a better vantage point or something like that.
Which is one of the nice things about the blimp is with Titanic rules, you can't hide anywhere. So I'm like, if I can't hide anywhere,
what size it is.
I'll just make it big and beautiful.
And to be honest, the base size is roughly equivalent to what stompa base.
Exactly. So I actually got this. This is technically a painting frame, and I took that and I measured it to find out something that was about the size of the stompa base. Yeah, and I saw one up there in the back.
We have a stompa here. So
so it's pretty close. And if you look at where roughly the top of the headline is, it should come out to about where the blimp or the gondola comes out.
It actually does. So if you measure to the gondola, it's actually good line of sight.
That's exactly what I do, because I'm like, I tell my opponent, you can see this wherever it is, no matter what, you got it. When I'm measuring, I measure my line of sight from here, and I measure to the base so that the base is roughly the same as the parts there. My opponent doesn't feel cheated is the end goal.
I think that is an amazing point of view and exactly how most gamers should approach conversions. Before us, we have about 6,000 points of orcs and about another 3,000 points of converted Kroot that you run as Eldar?
Dark Eldar even,
Dark Eldar?
Extra heresy involved.
Filthy traitors.
We've got a lot of fantasy bits here to make them look like they're riding dinosaurs, and as you're well aware of, part of the Kroot is that they evolve and they mutate based off of what they're eating. So I went, I can take these Kroot and I can make them look different, but with some similarities to make them look unified but unique. So if you look at the witches, they're more lithe and agile, and I've used the demonette model to try and
but you've made them blend in really nicely.
And then my rank and file Cabalites, I used the standard Kroot body. And then I actually used fantasy ghouls over there with the Kroot heads on top of them to be my grotesques and my, well, in this case, my racks for those, and my grotesques I used the Krootox model.
Oh, I really liked it.
Thank you.
What inspires you to do a conversion? like what makes you think, all right, that can't be the kit model, it's gotta be different?
So, it's not that I think I'm better than GW. They make beautiful kits, which, to be fair, I keep, like this thing right here, I didn't do much of anything to this other than...
What is this?
This is called a kill tank. I've done some magnetizing here so I can take out and have
a different gun.
Different gun if I want to, because unfortunately, this is built in such a way that it can't actually go past it, and I went, how do I do this? So I built the bottom, magnetized it, and then have a magnet at the back, magnet at the front, so it can stay stationary if I want to do the Giga Gatler, or if I want to do the big kill cannon. I've got both options.
And all the options just stayed right in there.
Yeah, and it's brilliant.
That's so perfect.
Part of the reason I wanted to convert my orcs is I felt like it didn't make sense for uniformity. I went, if there's any army that shouldn't ever be standardized, it's the army that's literally looting other factions to come up with their pieces. So that was what I felt like needed to happen, just based on who I know the orcs to be.
So that explains the orcs. Okay, that makes sense. Lore-wise, you've got all these conversions. They should be different. Like, you've also got some like fantastic conversions, like Stompa. It's an orc wearing a bunny suit. Right. And we've got also Gandalf. It looks like Gandalf as an orc.
Absolutely.
So we've got the orcs here. Tell me about why you said I have to convert an army of Kroot to be Dark Eldar.
So when I started playing Tau, it was back in the 3rd edition codex.
Yep.
And they had this little blurb in there about Kroot, and I went, these are the most interesting faction of all the factions. That's what I want to play. I want to play Kroot. But they didn't have a rule set that allowed you to do more than... So you had some Forge World options. So they had the Kroot Carnivore, and they had the Kroot Ox, and they had Kroot rank and file troops.
You've taken a traditional Forge World Kroot Rider, and you've attached a bunch of Dark Eldar weaponry to
Correct.
it.
That's exactly what I did. So just to make it so that, my opponent is never confused about what am I bringing for weapons.
But what is the unit?
It counts as a Venom. It's the smaller of the 2 transports, and they come out about that size.
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, if it had like wings, it would be about the perfect size, but a lot of the measurement is to the base from a lot of the rules anyway. So the fact that the base is the same size, and the model is very similar in rough shape, that I get to say, hey, I'm not trying to cheat you by running this, but it gets to have some rules that I get to put on the table.
To be honest, if you're across the table from this and you're saying, I feel cheated, you're not understanding the approach that is being done here. This is not to cheat someone. This is to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I would enjoy playing against this army.
Well, I hope we get to.
Right. My tower are going to face those traitor Kroot and bring him to justice.
Well, we'll see about that. I hope they can at least put up some of a fight. And actually, it's 4 Realms of Chaos that ended up getting this all painted up for me. They did such an amazing job. I worked with a guy named Tristan from there, and basically they really gave me a lot of really clear communication, and I was able to be like, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want to, and it was a really nice collaborative process, because for me, love the converting. I'm slow to paint. There's actually some pieces in here, like I said, obviously that was helped with Peter Scott, helped me with there, and I've got some other ones that my wife Gina has helped. She did all of the grots, for example.
You get to paint with your wife?
So I do.
That's
and
so awesome.
She is an excellent,
Laura, if you're
wonderful
watching, why won't you paint with me? Just like, come on. Just a little painting. We could have some excellent hangouts in the evening, just painting miniatures together.
She does a lot of the basing, actually, because she was like, hey, it's kind of just like arts and crafts. I like arts and crafts. I'm like, then do I have something for you? So
there's the line. There's the line. Try that on your significant other, see if that works.
So Gina's wonderful. They're in the process of rebasing because, of course, Orc Boys went from 25 mils up to the 32 millimeter bases.
Yeah.
So having to rebase, I think, close to 200 infantry models, it's been a process.
All right, I want to talk about one more miniature.
Yes.
I got to talk about this one. What is this, and how did you do this?
So this is actually a Cromlech is the major portion of it, and so Cromlech does some additional kits for orcs. They have an Orktober that they have, and they come out with some sales, and I'm very fortunate that my wife went, happy anniversary, and I went, you're amazing. So that's where I got the bulk of that kit from, and it's an awesome kit, so I'm like, why wouldn't I use it? And it's the same, so this is same model as this one here, has the claw, has the cannon.
So good.
And that's the Forge World kit there, and then that's the different kit there for looking at trying to get something similar, but still readable as what it's supposed to be.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for bringing down your amazingly, beautifully converted miniatures here. We're going to have to play against both of them. Your orcs are going to face against the Grot Guard, Matthew Beavis, another beautifully converted army.
That'll be awesome.
And then your Krootdar are going to face against my Tau, bring them to justice. It'll be great. So good. So you're going to be with us for a little bit here as we get some games in. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Army. Last note. Some people are scared to try converting. They want to just stick with the things, but they're worried about messing it up. So what advice would you have for them?
Well, so 2 pieces of advice, actually. One piece is if you go orcs, you can't go wrong. The nice part is if it's
true.
If it's off kilter, they built it that way.
Sure.
If it doesn't quite line up, they believe it works that way. But the actual piece of advice I'd say is start simple. Do kit bashing first, where you take, hey, this piece looks like it would fit here, and do a couple easy swaps. And then that'll help build your confidence from bringing up from kit bashing into then trying to do some freehand sculpting. I've got an Alfarius that I did a sculpt of 3 Hydras on his shoulder. It's technically a conversion from Guilliman.
There you go.
And so start by doing small steps to help build your confidence, and then you can just start to see eventually, hey, I think this piece could fit here, and I think that piece could fit there, and give it a try. You'll have a lot of fun.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Absolutely not.
Because they can just be happy little accidents that can turn into something else.
Exactly.
Or you can start an orc army. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming and bringing your stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get to playing some of these games. And until we see you next time,
Play on.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.